I think the importance of how you pull together a program for color management, how you communicate with your vendors, and the importance of having a color management program. It's important for your quality teams, it's important for communication with your procurement teams, it's really important for your quality of packaging, and in communicating with your vendors how you get to that quality packaging that you would like to see on shelf, because color is very important to brands. So all your colors and all your packaging, when you're seeing it on shelf, it really matters, because that's what comes across to the consumer. I think the biggest thing, I think it still goes back to having some sort of process. And I think I also started as a graphic designer and kind of evolved into the technical side of what does it mean for somebody to, how do graphic designers communicate with vendors? And to make sure that what they're trying to communicate in their packaging when they're designing is actually executed onto the paper or the plastic that you're printing on. So I think all of those things are really important. I think that might be one thing that I said, wow, I missed that when I was going through school for design. I didn't even understand that all of this made a difference, that how you're setting up your packaging files, how you're communicating to your vendors, making sure that you have a process in place for a good outcome for your packaging on shelf. I think the biggest challenges are probably when you're working with a vendor and then you need to change vendors for whatever reason. I think that the biggest challenge is moving your vendors, and then the other challenge is trying to maintain consistent colors over packaging over different substrates. So if you're, again, printing on plastic, you're printing on corrugate, you're printing on paper material, you're printing on metallized material, and how do you kind of start to manage those transitions from vendor to vendor and substrate to substrate, and kind of set expectations. I think that's the other big part, is not everything isn't necessarily going to look the same. And so how do you communicate also to your leadership team and your management team and your marketeers of, what to expect for outcomes when you're going through this. Communication. I think having good documentation in place so that you're communicating and that everybody, I'm global. We're a global corporation, so you have several different countries printing a certain red color, for instance. So it's really key to make sure that everyone's aligned on what does PMS 186 look like, for instance, for a red color. As far as consumers, I'd really have to think about that one. You stumped me a little bit on that one. I think because I'm in the business, I realize it when I see packaging side by side on shelf and I see something, a cereal brand that has yellow as their primary color, and I can tell the differences in packaging on shelf, and I think it makes consumers question the integrity of a brand if the printing process isn't done well. And so if you see a faded color, you're wondering, is the brand really keeping up with the premium quality that you're looking for? So I think that's why it's important for consumers to understand. I think for me, the biggest reason I come is networking. I think that probably is a running theme for everybody. Really connecting and seeing because sometimes in the day-to-day life, you kind of forget to pick up your head and look around you and think, what are other CPG companies doing, or what are other companies in general doing for sustainability, for color management, for graphic design. So I think it's a great opportunity to get away from the office and really focus on kind of elevating your own experiences and learning from the people that are around you. I think that's a big key point for me to be here.